Ah, the cheese story. Everyone wants to hear the cheese story. You know, it's past history. I've put it all behind me. It's nothing that I need to, I, hold on, stop. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Um, all right, we'll start again. Uh, you know, People ask me why I hate cheese, loathe cheese, almost like a phobia. Hate it. Well, it wasn't always the case. There was a time in my life when I loved cheese, like most people, when I felt normal. But that all changed one fateful summer day in my youth. Most people with siblings know that, older siblings can be pretty cruel. Older brothers are cruel physically, they beat up their younger siblings. Older sisters are psychologically cruel. And the cheese incident is a good example of that. It left me scarred for life. It all goes back to a summer day when our mom went out shopping, which she would do occasionally. And when she did, she would leave my sisters in charge. She'd leave the older girls in charge. And they had one responsibility. That was they had to make us lunch, my brother and I, Mike. And Mike and I had one responsibility. That was we would have to eat whatever the girls made for lunch for us. If we didn't eat lunch, we'd get in trouble. So one summer day, mom went out shopping and she went to the mall or whatever. And as per standard operating procedure, the girls immediately kicked us outside, locked the door, and then they were inside having a good time, got on the phone, got on the stereo, listening to records, talking about boys, celebrities that they had crushes on, whoever, or just sitting around and moping for some reason, like teenage girls do. My sisters occasionally liked to be sad. I don't get it. But, Mike and I were fine with it. We liked being outside. So we were outside, just playing army, doing things the guys do outside, having a good time. Well, our sisters made us lunch, but it was a little different today. It was cheese sandwiches. Thick, 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 dry. I don't even know if I can fit it in the screen here. Thick, dry cheese sandwiches. Like no mayonnaise, just stale, dry bread and cheese and more cheese and more cheese. It was so gross. It was disgusting. And it wasn't even real cheese. It's Velveeta. It's that orange block waxy cheese product that we have between two dry slabs of bread. And it's like 88 degrees outside, the sun beating down on us. And it took like an hour and a half to eat those sandwiches, which we had to do, otherwise we would get in trouble. And oh my God, just so gross. I was so sick afterwards. It I hated cheese after that. Mike recovered much faster than I did. It took me till age 12 just to eat pizza again. Mozzarella, very mild, and that's about all I can do. I still can't stand the sight or smell or taste of like pretty much any other kind of cheese. It's disgusting. I mean, we almost died. I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating here, but we almost died. Mike was found passed out underneath the garden hose spigot, trying to get a few drops of water out of that. Thank God for Mrs. Ray. Mrs. Ray, the ultimate block parent, was up in her watchtower with her binoculars, spotted me in the distance digging in a dry creek bed to try to get some water. And she was able to, find me and rescue me and nurse me back to health with just a glass of water. That's all it took. But it was traumatic. Now, here's the thing. It was all the girls, and all the girls were involved in these shenanigans. But to this day, none of them, not one of them, will take responsibility. They all point fingers at the other one, saying that they were just going along. They were just following orders, that it was always someone else. It was their idea to make these cheese sandwiches. And we don't know exactly who, but I will say this. There are signs that point to Judy. There is a pattern of behavior, of violence towards us and others. There is a consensus. There is a strong consensus out there from people who were near to the story.
I remember it like it was yesterday. The boys were terrified. They were being forced to eat Velveeta cheese sandwiches, and they just really didn't like them. We were never quite sure who was the leader, but in my mind, it was always Judy. Judy was the instigator. She was terrifying, and we were all scared of her. Thank God my mom was around and was able to help the boys out.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like something Judy would do. Of course, I had to comply to her every whim because I knew that she could beat the crap out of me easily.
She was a terror. I mean, everyone was terrified of her. She beat up Steve Pace. She was the only one in the neighborhood who could beat up Steve Pace. Threw him right in the Jagger bushes. His brother Sammy had to come rescue him. She beat up Roger Trunzo. No small feat.
We were all frightened of Judy. I'm just glad I didn't live in the neighborhood. I escaped the beating. I think she beat up everybody on the street. I'm glad I lived on the other side of Frankstown Road. Of course, when she'd venture on our side, like down Penn Aqua, I'd usually try to run and find a lifeguard to hide behind, or Mr. McCoy.
I think she made Cecilia Morano eat mud pies.
She made mud pies for me to eat. I did develop an appetite for eating dirt, so possibly it was a result of that.
And of course, it was confirmed later on through investigative work that she was the mastermind behind the terror campaign that police would later refer to as the Uadedadakakaka mysteries.
She masterminded the terror campaign against Mark, Mike, Steve, and whoever else by insisting that we write you Adeda Ducka Kaka.
That was her. That was her that painted that terrifying graffiti on the inside of the Ray's cabin behind their house. I think she's on a watch list from that.
Disguised, because to this day I still fear Judy Cairns. Who could forget the beatings, the throwing into the Jagger bushes, the fear of stepping off that carpet in the living room, fear of Judy catching me. My blood still runs cold thinking of the times that Judy beat me.
And we all know that she was the mastermind behind the murder of my giant stuffed bunny. But that's the past. And I like to think that, I've moved on. And I can be strong. Even though it continues to affect me in my daily culinary life, it's something that I just have to accept and move on, and I hope that someday Judy can get the help that she needs and find the peace that she's looking for. Namaste.